If you're thinking about picking up an older laptop to save some money, the M1 MacBook Air is probably still on your radar. Originally released back in 2020, this machine marked a huge turning point when Apple moved away from Intel and introduced its own silicon. Now that we're in 2026, the big question is, does this fan-favourite laptop still hold up? Or is it finally time to move on? And yeah, I own a cat, and she hasn't been in a good mood lately, so don't mind the scratches on my hands. Let's start with the design, because this is where you can really feel the age of the device. The M1 MacBook Air still uses that classic tapered wedge shape that had been around for years. At the time, it looked sleek and iconic, but compared to newer MacBooks with their flat, uniform chassis, this design now feels like a throwback. You'll also notice slightly thicker bezels around the display, which makes the screen look smaller than what you'd find on more modern models. It's not ugly by any means, it's just clearly from a different era of laptop design. That said, the build quality is still excellent. The aluminum body remains sturdy, lightweight and premium feeling even after years of use. Pick it up today and it doesn't feel like a budget laptop in terms of materials. This is one of the reasons why so many people still consider it a solid value buy. Moving to the display, you're getting a Retina panel that still looks sharp, with good colour accuracy and brightness for everyday work. However, this is a standard 60Hz display with no promotion or high refresh rate. If you've used newer laptops or tablets with smoother scrolling, you'll definitely notice the difference. For writing, browsing, watching videos, or editing photos casually, it's still perfectly usable, but it's not cutting edge anymore. One thing many users still appreciate is what's missing, rather than what's included. There's no touch bar here. Instead, you get a traditional function key row, which for a lot of people is actually more practical. The keyboard remains comfortable to type on, and the large trackpad is still one of the best you'll find on any laptop, even in 2026. Apple really nailed these fundamentals, and they've aged extremely well. Now let's talk about performance, the area where this laptop continues to surprise people. The M1 chip was far ahead of its time when it launched, and even today, it handles everyday workloads without feeling slow. Web browsing, office tasks, media consumption, coding, and even light creative work, like photo editing or basic video projects, still run smoothly. For students, remote workers, or anyone needing a reliable daily machine, the performance is more than adequate. But there is a major catch, and it's something buyers absolutely need to pay attention to. RAM configuration. Many base models shipped with just 8GB of unified memory, and that's where you can start to feel limitations in 2026. Modern apps, heavier multitasking, and browser usage can easily push past that comfort zone. If you're considering this laptop now, the 16GB version is the one to get, no question. That extra memory dramatically extends the usable life of the device and prevents slowdowns when juggling multiple tasks. Another advantage the M1 MacBook Air still holds is its completely fanless design. Because it has no internal fan, it runs silently all the time. No noise, no vibration. Just a clean, quiet experience whether you're working in a library or editing late at night. Thermal performance is still respectable for general use, although sustained heavy workloads will naturally be limited compared to actively cooled machines. Battery life also remains a strong point. Even after several years, many units still deliver impressive endurance thanks to the efficiency of the M1 chip. You can comfortably get through a workday on a single charge with typical use, which is something a lot of older Intel laptops simply can't match. Of course, there are compromises that show its age. You only get 2 USB-C ports, and since there's no dedicated MagSafe charging port on this model, plugging in power takes up one of those ports. That can feel restrictive if you rely on multiple accessories. The webcam is another area where time hasn't been kind. It's serviceable, but clearly behind the sharper cameras found in newer laptops. Software support is another factor to think about. While the M1 MacBook Air is still receiving updates in 2026, it's approaching the stage where long-term support becomes uncertain. You're not buying a device that's at the beginning of its life cycle. You're buying one that's somewhere in the middle to late phase. So where does that leave us? The M1 MacBook Air is no longer the revolutionary machine it once was, but it's still a very capable laptop for the right person. If you need a dependable, well-built and efficient computer for everyday productivity, and you can find it at a good price, it remains a smart value option. Just make sure you avoid the base configuration and aim for 16 gigabytes of RAM if you want the best experience going forward. In short, this isn't the newest or flashiest laptop anymore, but it's a reminder of how far ahead of the curve Apple was when it launched. Even 6 years later, it's still doing the job, and doing it surprisingly well.